This is the question asked in today's skillrack daily challenge. So in the first line of our input, we will be given an integer n as input. So here n is equal to 4. So we are given 4 different fruits and their quantity. So the first fruit is apple and the quantity is 10. And the second fruit is orange and the quantity is 5. Similarly, mango and the quantity is 15 and banana the quantity is 4. So after the fruit names, we are given an integer x. So before that, in the first two lines of our output, we have to print the total number of fruits and the total quantity. So here the total number of fruits is equal to 4 and the total quantity is nothing but the sum of all the quantities 10, 5, 15 and 4. So when we add all these values, we get 34. So in our output, we are printing 4 and then 34. So 4 is nothing but the total number of fruits and 34 is the total quantity of all the fruits. And after this, in the input, we are given an integer x. So here x is equal to 3. So we have to delete the third fruit. So we have to remove this mango. So we have to consider only all the remaining fruits. So in our output, we can see that while printing the fruit names, we are just ignoring the mango. So we are printing apple and its quantity 10, and we are printing orange, and after that we are moving to banana. So we are ignoring the mango because we have deleted it. And after printing the fruit names, now we have to print the updated fruit count and the updated total quantity. So after removing one fruit from 4, it becomes 3, and the total quantity of mango is 15. So 34 minus 15, the value is 19. So now this is the quantity of the available fruits. So we are printing 19. So now our task is to define a class named fruit which performs all of these actions. So now let us see the code given to us. So this is the code given to us in hello.py. So here we can see that first we are importing the class named fruit, and after that we are accepting the integer n as input, and we are creating an empty list named fruits, and we are creating a loop that iterates for n number of times. So in every iteration of this loop, we are accepting a fruit name and its quantity, and using that we are creating an object for the fruit class, and we are adding that object to this list named fruits. So after creating the objects using the append, we are appending the object to the list named fruits. And finally, after the execution of the loop, as we have already seen in our output, first we have to print the fruit count and we have to print the total quantity. So using the class name, we are printing the value of the variables count and total quantity. So we have to create two static variables named count and total quantity in the fruit class, because in the print statement present here, we are not creating an object. Using the class name, we are directly calling the variable. So it is possible only if the variables are static. So we are printing the fruit count and the total quantity of the fruits. And after this, we are accepting the integer x as input, and we are deleting the x minus 1th object. So we have to override the delete method in the fruit class. Only then we will be able to update the fruit count and the total quantity of the fruit. And after deleting the x minus 1th object, we are iterating through each and every object which is present in the fruits list, and we are printing the object. So it is not possible to directly print the object, so we have to override the str method also. And finally, after printing all the fruit names, we have to print the updated fruit count and total quantity. So again, using the class name, we are accessing the static variables count and total quantity. So now our task is to define this class named fruit. So we have to define the init method, and then we have to override the delete method, and we have to override the str method. So these are the methods which we need to define in the fruit class. So now let us see the code which is written in the fruit class. So the syntax for creating a class is class and then the class name. So I am setting class fruit, and then first I am creating two static variables which we were using in the hello.py. So count and total quantity. So here I am setting count comma total quantity is equal to 0 comma 0. So initially we are setting count is equal to 0 and total quantity is equal to 0. And now we have to define the constructor. So the constructor is nothing but the init method. So in the init method, we are given two arguments, the name of the fruit and the quantity of the fruit. So we have to accept them. So before that we have to give the self. So giving self, and we are accepting the name of the fruit and the quantity of the fruit. And now we have to assign these values to the instance variables. So using the self keyword, we have to set self.name is equal to name, and then self.quantity is equal to quantity. So whenever an object is being created, then it is a new fruit. So we have to update the static variable. So here for instance variable we will be using self, but the count and total quantity are static variables. So we have to increment their values using the class name. So the class name is fruit. So fruit.count plus is equal to 1. So this is how we will be updating the values of the static variables. Similarly, the total count. So fruit.total quantity plus is equal to quantity. So whenever we are creating an object, we are simultaneously incrementing the fruit count as well as we are updating the total quantity. So this is how we have to define the init method. And next we have to define the str method, because after printing the count and the total quantity, we were printing the name of the fruits. So we were directly printing an object. So we have to override the str method. So in the str method, we are accepting the self in the argument, and here we have to return the name as well as the quantity of the fruit separated by a colon. So in the return statement, we have to return the fruit name and the quantity. So in order to access them, we can use the dot operator. So the self.name will be the fruit name and self.quantity will be the quantity of the fruit. So we have to return them in a string format, so that will be printed in the output. And after this we have to override the delete method also. So next we are going to override the delete method, and in the arguments we are setting self. So whenever the delete method is being called, we have to update the fruit count as well as the total quantity of the fruit. So first we have to decrement the fruit count by 1, because one fruit is being deleted. So using the class name, we can decrement the value of the static variable count. And then similarly we can access the quantity of the current object by using the dot keyword. So we have to subtract the static variable total quantity with the self.quantity. So I am setting fruit.total quantity minus is equal to self.quantity. So by doing this, whenever the delete method is being called, our fruit count and the total quantity will be updated. So this is how we can define the class named fruit in order to get the output as given in the question. So this is the logic to solve today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.